Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I've got another video today about vampire crab foods. I've had a fair few people asking about baby vampire crab foods, so what kind of stuff to feed them. But I thought I'd go over both, so the stuff for normal vampire crabs, the adult ones obviously, and the baby vampire crabs. Now essentially they do eat basically the same thing, but it does help to get some other stuff in there as well, just to get them growing a bit quicker. So we'll just jump straight into it. Obviously none of this stuff in this video is sponsored, so if you see any brands, it just happens to be what I got, either because it was the cheapest or because it was the only thing around. So we'll jump straight into it. First up we have Daphnia. I use this stuff quite a lot. The crabs love it and it's really easy to spread out through the tank. So basically just take the lid off and sprinkle it through everywhere. As you can see, this stuff is dried, so it's really easy to just sprinkle throughout the tank. And the crabs eat it, springtails eat it, pretty much everything has a go at it. Next up we have Cory food. So these little granules are really good for the crabs. Basically again, you just grab a little handful and just chuck it all through your tank. So sprinkle it around everywhere and the crabs are pretty quick to find it. So again, don't worry about the brand, any brand's fine, but this is the particular one I'm using, just small granules. Throw it in the water, throw it on the land, wherever, the crabs will find it pretty quickly. Definitely one of the top foods for the crabs, and even the babies really enjoy it. Next up, we have an unusual one. This is Better Food, so Better Flakes. Again, ignore the brand, you can use any kind you like. I just trying these for a bit of an example because I had them around and the crabs really do like them. So again, I just sprinkled quite a few of these throughout the tank. Again, it's another bit of a varied diet and the crabs seem to quite like them. Same for the springtails, and you can just sprinkle it on the land or into the water section. Next up is a bit of an odd one, but Pleco tablets. Again, ignore the brand on this one, but these are a mix of spirulina and spinach, I believe. So I'm not sure on the exact mix. I can't read everything on the back, obviously. It's in Polish, so they're double-sided. I usually just break them up and put them in the water section, and the crabs just try a little bit as they go through the tank. They're not the biggest fan on it, but they do pick at it, so it's obviously a good little bit of variety. Another really good one, this one is particularly good for baby crabs, is nano fish granules. So these are just some leftover ones I have. I don't remember the brand, but it doesn't really matter. Any nano granules will do. So these are good because they're really small and the crabs can pick them up really easily. Again, I just sprinkle them through the tank, so on the land section, into the water section, wherever, and the crabs will find them pretty quickly. This here is another bit of an odd one, similar to the Pleco tablets, but these are just little spirulina pellets. I put these in the tank sometimes. The crabs, they do pick at them, but they're probably not their favorite, though a lot of the other stuff in the tank does. So the springtails, the snails, and some of the shrimp I have, they go crazy for them. So crabs do eat them, and it is an option, probably good for a varied diet, but yeah, not one of their favorites. This one, a lot of people have probably tried, so either shrimp pellets or crab pellets. So these ones here are shrimp pellets, and the crabs, probably I would consider this one of their favorites. Again, I just crunch it up and sprinkle it through the tank, and obviously the shrimp and springtails and everything goes crazy for it as well. So these are really cheap and you can get them quite easily just about anywhere. Most people will have them anyway, I guess. So definitely give these a try, and they're fantastic for the baby crabs as well. They got lots of nutrients and everything to get them growing nice and quick. Next up we have just standard Cory pellets. These are the ones that most people will be using. They sink to the bottom and the Corys will generally pick at them pretty quickly. But the crabs do exactly the same thing. Usually they'll grab one of these, and if there's more crabs around, they will try to run off with it. Again, they're nice and cheap and something most people already have. Next up, we have some of the frozen foods that I'm using. This stuff here is mosquito larvae. I'm not sure exactly what type of mosquito. The name's on the pack there, the scientific name, if you want to check it out. But yeah, mosquito larvae. I basically just defrost these and sprinkle these through the tank as well. Not as sporadically. I usually make a few little piles, and same in the water, and the crabs will just come and pick at them. Snails, shrimp, and even the springtails like these as well. Definitely worth a try. Another frozen food, and something most people already have, are bloodworms. These are pretty self-explanatory, so yeah, definitely give these a go. I treat them with these at least once a week. You can use any sort of the frozen foods that you get for fish. The crabs will eat those as well, so you really can't go wrong. So adult crabs and baby crabs will absolutely smash these. So that covers most of the dry foods and frozen foods. So obviously I said earlier, if you're feeding the adults, you can feed the baby crabs the exact same thing. You don't really have to worry. I just generally spread stuff out through the tank as sparsely as possible, so there's stuff everywhere, so you don't have crabs sort of piling up on each other, because they do get a little bit aggressive sometimes, and the babies will end up being food in some situations. So outside of the dried food and the frozen foods, there's a ton of fresh foods you can do as well. Most of them you have to boil. Things like banana and stuff are fine to do without boiling. But if you want to do things like potato, pumpkin, spinach, stinging nettle's another good one. Any kind of fruits like strawberries go well. Just avoid things like chilies if you can. You can also add live crickets, and any of the dried stuff you would feed turtles and lizards. The crabs will eat those as well. You just got to be careful they don't go moldy. Some of those end up getting some issues with going moldy, so just keep that in mind. If you do want to check out that full video on some of the fresh stuff I have, I'll leave a link in the description as well. It covers some other stuff that I probably didn't mention here, specifically in fresh foods, but that guide's for vampire crabs and shrimp. So if you do keep both, it's definitely one to check out. Again, if you guys have anything interesting to add that I haven't mentioned here, don't forget to drop it in the comments. I'm curious what you guys think, and maybe I'll add a few more extra things to feed my crabs. Anyway, that wraps up this video. I'll just drop a tank updates cinematic video at the end of this one, because there's some pretty interesting updates from the big Paludarium, so check that out. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers everyone.